Thank you, Peter, especially for stopping before I had to stop you. Thank you. We have 5 minutes for discussion. Please use them. Yeah.
A question for Peter and for anybody. Is there any chance that the CRISPR-Cas technology may change the appreciation towards GMOs by the general public and by the NGOs and by the governments?
That what may?
The CRISPR-Cas technology may produce any effect in terms of perhaps making people more prone to accept the GMO technology?
You know, the biggest mistake is taking GMOs as a class. You know, non-GMO, GMO. Do we need to use it? Do we absolutely need to use it, or don't we? When there's no danger there, that's an incredibly stupid argument. If there's no danger, then we use it if it's more profitable, like the farmers in the United States. CRISPR, I think, will make the situation murkier, like we tried to in our article with Norman Borlaug and Perry Gustafson, in talking about all the other kinds of modern plant breeding, and I think in that way it'll help to get by. But as long as people think of GMOs as a class to be avoided and it's very dangerous and we should use it only in extremis, we're going to have a lot of trouble.
Peter, on biodiversity, can you imagine a new approach to landscape design where we combine efficient, partly GMO-driven agriculture with a lot more biodiversity within fields, using new technology, maybe precision agriculture, etc. So addressing what we currently have got used to as fields as a space for biodiversity.
On the biggest scale, at 7.4 billion people, increasing by 200,000 a day and going for 9.9 billion in the next 34 years, we are, according to Global Footprint Network, using 164% of the world's sustainable productivity. Daniel Jansen, one of my colleagues, said in the 1960s, the world is a garden and we're all its gardeners. And I think that's the real point, and I think that's what Pope Francis is calling our attention to in his encyclical. We need to put the world together into precisely the kind of sustainable mosaic that you're talking about, YT, and in doing that, whatever the particular kind of crops are or however they're gotten genetically will play a role, and then biodiversity will play a role. And we're looking at the extinction of perhaps half of all of biodiversity, most of which we've never even seen during the remaining years of this century. So the faster we put that mosaic together, the better. Otherwise, as our president warned us at an earlier meeting of this, we're looking at a situation where we're not really afraid for our children and grandchildren. We really ought to be afraid for ourselves. It's changing extremely rapidly. We're using more than there is there. GM is one of many techniques for improving the genetics of plants. We have absolutely no scientific reason, nor has any scientific academy ever come to a different conclusion about using it, and we need to get on with creating a kind of that sustainable mosaic as rapidly and directly as we can.
Allow me to describe to you quickly an experiment I proposed 1986, I believe so. How genetic engineering can improve biodiversity. There is maize cultivation in Switzerland, which is not a good idea in a hilly country, because this causes problems. Runoff of topsoil, which is a severe problem. So I propose to use the potential of glyphosate-resistant corn to establish what I call a corn meadow. How does this work? You grow a meadow, as are very popular in Switzerland. You harvest or you graze on this meadow. Then you want to plant corn, you mow the meadow, and you drill in 10 centimeter stretches for sowing. And then corn is growing up, and the grass competes with the corn. The grass is stronger than the corn, so the corn has no chance. If you take a glyphosate-resistant corn, you use one spraying once to reduce the competition of the grass. Then your maize plant grows higher than the grass. Then the maize plant can compete with the grass, and then you have a corn developing in a meadow. Then you harvest the corn, and then you have a meadow which survives the winter, and next year you repeat it. What are the advantages? You prevent soil degradation and soil runoff. You prevent leaching off of nitrogen in the streams. You have a habitat for other plants. You can even sow in beautiful white flowers. You have a habitat for insects and birds. So you have a situation which everybody should like.
The more experiments, the better. The more attention we give to variability and different kinds of systems in agriculture, the better. The more resources we're willing to devote to agricultural productivity for healthy foods and healthy crops, which will differ everywhere, the better. Our population continues to grow very rapidly and is very needy, and there have to be many more than one way to get to a better world.
Yeah, let me finish off by saying this remained a dream because it was not possible in Switzerland, because you had to use GMOs. So simple. Thank you.